Life can be a little crazy sometimes. In these bizarre moments we live in, we need a podcast to bring us together, to inspire others during all this chaos. Who will step up to the challenge? I'm Sean Graves, though I can't fix everything. With the help of my guests, we can help inspire each other. Today's guest is Kasia Posey, and the reason why I asked... What? Why are you laughing?
I could just... try to keep a straight face. I can't.
You can't. I'm smiling at you.
Okay.
It doesn't work that way.
Start from the beginning.
Today's guest is Kasia Posey. And I brought you onto the show after weeks of putting this together and really trying to put together a solid idea of what season 2 should be more about, as opposed to season 1, which was really a trial and error. But of course, with this season, rising up against adapting with COVID, and especially with making this, a me only show, trying to get it all together. One thing that stood out for me when it came to you as a person is that we go to work every day, but then what do we have on the off hours? And what you do on the off hours is really fun. It's wrestling, right? Like WWE style. Can you tell me a little bit about that? For example, what got you into wrestling?
Oh Lord. So back in my day,
which was that? Because back to my day was 2000, and people who I work with and people who listen to the pod, they were in middle school, or probably actually, you know what? One of the guys who I work with, when I say 2000, they were just born.
I'm trying to think who's older, me or you?
I'm 28 for the 4th time in a row.
We're the same age.
Yes!
88 babies! Yes! Somebody that gets me.
No, seriously. We were turn of that century.
Class
we
of
got
06.
Exactly. We got a lot of 90s horrible CGI movies.
Yes, but they were
awesome. Hackers. Or that one where Keanu Reeves is he downloads information into the back of his head,
I
the Matrix.
That movie.
And yeah, I don't remember what it was called, but
not the Matrix. You're talking about
the other one where he puts on this shield thingy and he has the gloves.
Yeah, it was
it was really horrible.
I remember because it was low budget John Wick meets Matrix.
Yeah, before John Wick and the Matrix were a thing.
It was terrible.
Yeah.
I still loved it.
And we also had Napster.
Oh, we had Power Rangers.
We had Power Rangers. Yep.
We had Sailor Moon and Dragon Ball Z and Pokemon.
Oh my God. Here's the thing about Pokemon is that
elementary school.
In middle school, when Pokemon hit, I was probably in the 6th or 7th grade, and the thing about it was...
Nope. We were 4th grade.
You were in 4th grade?
We were in 4th or 5th grade by the time Pokemon made it here. Because it was right before, and this is for our generation.
Right.
That was right before Cartoon Network started Toonami.
Yes. With Steve Bloom as Tom. Right. Yeah. Crazy. For me... I remember Spice Girls hitting it hard in 4th and 5th grade.
I remember the
Spice
movie.
World was the album to listen to in 4th and 5th grade.
And the movie was awesome.
Except watching it as an adult, I'm like, oh, I get the movie now. Because when I was watching it younger, I was like, whatever, it's just 5 chicks on a movie. I didn't understand the alien bit. I didn't understand the whole premise of the movie.
I can't rewatch it.
Me neither. Yeah.
Oh God. Okay, but anyways,
Yeah,
back
yeah.
on
So
topic.
what? I'm sorry. Like we're just reminiscing about 1988 babies and going through the
Nostalgia.
90s and 2000s. But in the 90s, WWE was a huge thing, and
That
wrestling was a
was
huge thing. I
yeah,
remember
'cause
that
it
next
was
to Simpsons, like every
we were
week.
coming out of the what they call territory era.
What's territory era?
Territories. So wrestling started in territories. There was territories in states, and then there was like regional, and then it was
Okay.
all that, and then it was in the northeast up by like New England area.
Uh-huh.
That was ran by Vince McMahon Sr.
Okay.
So baby Vince McMahon, now his dad.
Right.
And then later on, that started to like move around. They started to bring people in. They started merging a bunch of other stuff. So we were getting right out of the territory days.
Okay.
And that was when WWE was huge. We had the Attitude Era.
Well, it was WWF.
Well, yeah.
Right.
WWF.
World Wrestling
And
Federation.
then we had WWF. And then we had WCW.
Oh yeah.
And later on we had ECW, but it was like that time where wrestling was huge.
Yeah.
And we had on WCW you had NWO and you had MWO Wolfpack, and then you had some of the best talent on WCW. You had Goldberg, you had big sexy Kevin Nash, you had Scott Hall, you had Macho Man, Hulk Hogan,
The Hurricane.
Oh my god!
Yeah,
like,
it's funny
all
that like
those are huge.
I feel like with our generation, we can name off like there were like the greats. It's kind of weird how it was like as you go through the decades, it's like you could tell which one you're a fan of, because for me, Mankind,
Mick
Cactus
Foley.
Jack,
Mick Foley.
same people. One had a
And
sock.
Dude Love.
And Dude Love, yep. Stone Cold, you mentioned him. The Rock. Sting.
And what you're talking about was outside of Sting was mostly WWF.
Yeah.
And
that was the only thing that was on telly for me.
For me, I loved the days of Nitro.
Okay.
WCW Nitro was awesome. Because you had the Nitro girls. You had... It was like a concert. Like hell. They even had a guy called the Demon. His debut was with Kiss.
Yep.
And Kiss played their music and all this other stuff. And he was a Kiss-looking wrestler.
Right. With the white and
black.
He
looked like Gene Simmons.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
Yeah.
We had Juventud Guerrero. There was, oh my God, Eddie Guerrero. There was Psychosis. There was La Parca. That was the day when they took all the lucha stuff and they incorporated it, and it was actually huge, where the cruiserweight division was actually incorporated with all the other guys, and it wasn't just a separate thing like it is now. And then, you go to WWF, and then you had people like Trish Stratus, Deborah, Chyna, Triple H.
Yeah, rest in peace, Chyna.
Right?
Damn.
My idol. You had Lita, the Hardy Boys in like their prime.
Right.
You had Edge and Christian with Gangrel and the Brood before they went and did their own thing.
Yep.
Like, watching that era was huge.
Yeah.
The battle of WCW, WWF.
Yep.
Who's going to be the bigger company?
Right.
And who's going to go where? And then ECW came out, and then it was just a love triangle between all three.
Right.
And
Yeah.
oh my God, it just blew up.
Yeah.
And I used to watch it with my mom and dad.
Because at that point, I mean, it's like what Carol Burnett said, is that like this podcast, you're welcomed into the family household with the television.
Exactly.
You become a part of the family. And I mean, it was another one of those, macho male with really hot chicks. And that's what gets the viewers at the time.
It was also a lot edgier back then.
Because he could get away with a lot more. And people weren't as woke then as
you
they
couldn't
are now.
do half of the stuff. I don't know if
you
I
can
can
say
swear
shit.
on it.
It's fine.
Okay, okay, shit. You can't do half the shit that they did back in the Attitude Era.
Right.
Because if you did, you wouldn't have a show.
No. I think the most intense thing that I've ever seen, there was two in particular, was there was a snake hidden underneath the ring, and then there was this other, well, I mean, they do it now, but
there was the Jake the Snake Roberts versus Macho Man, and he actually had the snake bite Macho Man.
Yes. And I think that's where my fear of snakes came from. Single-handedly, because I was like, that's real.
Edge and Lita had a simulated sex scene in the middle of the ring.
What?
Yeah.
I must have missed this.
Yeah, it was on. They had a whole bed set up, everything, and it was initially supposed to be him and Vicky Guerrero, but it ended up being with Lita.
Oh my gosh.
Or Vince McMahon having Deborah skimp down to her bra and panties and walking around barking like a dog. Like,
that is some edgy
stuff like that you cannot do anymore.
No. Yeah.
And it was to sell him as the bad guy.
Mm-hmm.
But nowadays, you can't do that. Because if you do that now, then...
Well, there's a lot of people with, sticks and pitchforks and everything just ready to go. It got
very PG.
Mm-hmm. To the betterment?
Well, I wouldn't say that. Because back then, the wrestlers had a lot more creative freedom. Mm-hmm. Nowadays, it's very scripted. As far as, like, big WWE.
Wait. Are you telling me that the World Wrestling Federation was scripted?
To an extent.
Yes.
Because not...
that's like one of those, remember back in the 90s? It was like, it's scripted. No, it's not. Yes,
Actually, back then, it wasn't as scripted. It was
like maybe 10% scripted.
I would come to you, say, hey... so-and-so did this. This is the goal. Go do it. And you would go figure it out.
Okay.
That's actually how Stone Cold Steve Austin came up with the Austin 316.
Oh, okay.
Because I think it was Jake the Snake was doing some religious bit at the time. And then Stone Cold comes out from the hospital. And they said, hey, Jake just cut this promo on you. And he was quoting Bible verses and whatever. And, of course, everybody knows John 3:16. So, using that, that was when he said, Austin 3:16 says, I just whooped your ass. And he said that live. And it wasn't even a thing yet, but then it became something.
Damn.
It was like the stupidest shit.
Yeah.
It's what made him. But that was the creative freedom that they were given. Nowadays, you stick to the script. You don't veer off. You don't ad-lib. Nothing.
Damn.
And, like, growing up on all that as a kid, like, I was in theater. I was in martial arts. I got to be in wrestling, amateur at high school. In junior high. So, like, I was geared towards going to wrestling.
Oh, okay.
I just loved it. You see the stuff, and it's like, these people are famous, and they're doing something fun.
Like the roller derby, pretty much. Like, it's taking an idea like roller skating and turning it into a sport.
Exactly. I'm like, okay, I get to be physical. My job would be stay in shape. And I get to act. And maybe make a lot of money, and people look up to me.
And break an arm in the process.
Maybe get famous.
Yeah.
That's what as a kid, that's what all of us thought, like, I'm going to WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And then you realize it's not that fucking
Well, I mean,
easy.
even like when we were like in middle school, it was own a skateboard and you too can be Tony Hawk.
Oh, God.
And have your own video game and everything.
I own Pro Skater. I made my own park.
I did that.
You were the guy. You were
was
that
that
kid kicked downstairs.
Yes, I was.
You were that kid. But yeah, like, I love that stuff. I keep forgetting I'm on a thing where I can swear. I love that shit. So when I got to the point where I was actually able to go and try out and train and learn or whatever.
What was that point?
I was
like, when do you feel like you're ready for
I
the next
graduated in 06.
Mm-hmm.
I was in Georgia. I think I tried to look up a school about 07.
Mm-hmm.
And then being the closeted queer person I was, which I was coming out and everything.
Okay.
They basically told me that I was wasting my time.
Because
I was queer. It was homophobic stuff.
Okay.
Basically that I would not sell.
Oh.
That even if I trained, I was this phenomenal wrestler, that I wouldn't sell.
That makes a lot of sense in like 06 because
it was different.
It was different because, like I said,
we still had Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
We did, but we also had, like, for years before that, Queer Eye for the Straight Guy was new on television. So the demographic that we're a part of was just starting to become, again,
and we didn't
allowed into the household.
Yeah.
By the television.
Like, there were already people that were gay into wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
For instance, Pat Patterson, who wrestled back in 70s, the 80s?
Yep.
And he just had to be closeted. But everybody knew behind closed doors that he was a gay man.
Mm-hmm.
They just can't say it.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
and for like a while, I mean...
Yeah, Goldust.
Yeah, and other artists such as Chris Isaac.
Yeah.
For a hot minute, that was a thing. And then it was like... But he's a 90s specialty situation.
Yeah.
Because you move up to 06 and we have Adam Lambert.
Yeah.
But
it was...
Where they were selling him as that rock guy, and then he was so not that.
Oh, wait, he's gay?
Right.
Oh, I just thought he was a pretty boy with a guy eyeliner, Okay.
Right.
And then you were like, oh no, he's gay.
Yeah. And now he's with Queen.
He is really gay. Yeah. I was like, hi.
So...
we had people like Goldust.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
So I thought, give it a shot.
Mm-hmm.
And I dealt with people being kind of like, okay, it's cool if you're that way, but, just don't make advances at me or something. Okay. And I'm like, hey, just because you're a guy that's in shape doesn't mean I want you.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. You have to be very egotistical to think oh, I'm so desirable to a guy in the bathroom that if anything was to happen, I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to stand up for myself.
Yeah.
I promise that's not going to happen. And if it does happen, that's not a demographic of people that normally are in the restrooms.
Exactly.
It's so funny that I was thinking about this. If I invite friends over, I only have one bathroom in the house. Some houses have two.
You go in, you lock
you lock the door, you do your business, you get out. And less than a decade ago was about sharing, making bathrooms for both sexes.
We're one of
just-
very few countries that still segregates bathrooms. So.
Yep.
But you go to Europe,
Yep.
not a problem.
Doesn't make a difference.
Nope. Go in, take a piss, take a crap, leave.
Yep.
Well, wash your hands, but then leave.
Don't forget to wash your hands. It's so important these days.
Yeah, that started when I was about 07.
Okay.
End of 06,
So
beginning
20.
of 07.
You're about 20 years old. 2021?
Shit. See, 06. I was probably about 19.
Okay.
And then just hearing the misogynistic stuff, the homophobic stuff, and I was just like, you know what? I really don't want to deal with this. If this is what the business is about, like, no, not for me. And it put like a bitter taste in my mouth.
Right.
So
Did you think that it's better that you get that bitter taste now?
Yeah.
Or like, would you think that being in the business and then getting that bitter pill?
I think what made me most bitter was that I missed out on my prime of being young, really in shape, super healthy. My body wasn't falling apart yet. Some of my younger injuries hadn't caught up with me yet. And I probably could have done some really good stuff. And what I would have loved was, what if I had done my wrestling career? I would have been 10 years in now. And then in my 30s, I'm transitioning and I'll be with like people like Nyla Rose, who's AEW, or Candy Lee, who's a trans female wrestler in the UK. I would have grown up in all this. And who knows? It might have taken me somewhere else. But now I'm 10 years in the Navy. I'm 2.5 years training in wrestling. And I'm in my 30s. And I'm like,
Well, that's really a lot.
my body is falling apart. Like,
because of the excruciating training you go through.
Yes.
Or and obviously everything else you've
well, people don't
added to.
think about being trans as being physically inept. But there are some things that you have to take into consideration when you're training. For like trans men, I say that they're probably the luckiest of the trans, because when you're taking testosterone, it's a hell of a drug. And you could get buff, you could be strong, all that.
Yeah.
Going the other way,
with estrogen,
not so easy.
no?
So if you're at the beginning and you are taking let's say a testosterone blocker,
Okay.
and you're taking your estrogen, well, you still have a pretty decent amount of testosterone, which is going to help you with your muscles and getting in shape and keeping your weight down and all the other stuff.
Right.
And not to get too personal, but if you had partial bottom surgery to remove the boys or the girls, however you want to say it,
Sure.
then you don't make testosterone anymore.
Right.
And then if you're in my case, then if you're not making testosterone and then you're just taking estrogen, you are literally pushing your body to stay in shape on only estrogen, which is
It's counterintuitive.
not really
isn't it?
possible.
Right.
It's hard.
Yeah.
There's just so many things you have to take into consideration when you're doing this. Your body doesn't repair the same. You have to be very, very mindful of how your body feels. Like, my right hip flexor always hurts, and that's a martial arts injury. That's just a thing. My back always hurts from training. Right now, both of my heels hurt because I did what they call spiking your foot, where I came over and I hit my heel really hard because I didn't put my feet down properly.
Oh no.
Like little things, but I know how to take care of
little
myself.
Things, yeah.
Yeah, little things. Or like my neck hurts. Sure. But that could be wear and tear. It could be I laid wrong. But I can't go to a massage therapist right now. I can't go to a chiropractor. I can't go to any of these other people to actually take care of my stuff. So I'm just screwed, and I just live in pain.
Currently.
And then I take and I do Epsom salt baths, lavender baths, rose baths with rose petals and oils. Take care of my skin. And this is funny. I'm one of those people that I use mouthwash for everything.
What?
Well, look it up. There's like a bunch of shit you can use mouthwash for. And one of the things mouthwash is good for is helping with bruising. So I will take a mouthwash bath. And I would just soak with Epsom salt in that, and then I just sit in there for like an hour watching YouTube or whatever.
Hulu.
So, but these are just things that I have to try to figure out along the way. It's like when I started, it was easy because I was the macho guy, chisel body, started on hormones, and then, oh shit, I'm growing boobs.
There's not really like, for example, a how-to book.
No.
Like, because
there is no book.
So are you crafting a chapter in this?
I wouldn't say I am, because there are people like I was saying, like Nyla Rose. She's been wrestling a hell of a lot longer than I have. And beautiful woman. Gets in the ring, she looks like a beast. She messes you up. And then you have the other side of the spectrum, you have Candy Lee. And she is this beautiful Asian girl from the UK. And they've been doing this a lot longer than me. So I wouldn't say I'm chiseling a chapter. I'm chiseling my chapter. And I've been told by a lot of people that I'm an inspiration. And it's more so to do probably because of the military and being a person of my stature in the military. And I also am a wrestler. So it's kind of like I do both of these things and I do it proudly. And I'm like, it's not that big of a deal.
But it really is, because like, as I stated in the beginning of the show, is that like these are, in our world, it's crazy times because people get so focused into just what's safe. And then if you're not in that bubble, that personal bubble of what is safe, and you experience people like you have one of two choices: either shun it or go, this is really fascinating and I would love to learn so much more. And I'm already learning so much more just because of asking, how did you get into wrestling? Your persona on stage, how did you create her? Where did she come from? From a dream? From a novel?
Neither.
From television? Some kind of role model? A song?
Okay. So, how the hell do I start? So, I love China. Okay. Yeah. China was my idol growing up. I thought she was a trans woman. I didn't know. I saw this person who kind of looked trans.
Okay.
So, I used to love watching her wrestle. Plus, she's the only WWF to WWE Intercontinental Champion that was a female in a male category.
Fact.
Think about it. Back then, Intercontinental Championship was only for the men.
Yeah.
She was the only female to hold that title.
That's cool.
So it's kind of like a respect, right? You have to respect that. She moved waves and mountains for the women's division. And I wish, things didn't end the way they did for her. But that part I don't idolize. I'm not doing that. But her in the ring, she was phenomenal. The only person nowadays that I can even look at and go, okay, they're kind of close to what China used to be, if not potentially better, and that's Charlotte Flair. Just the athleticism and just everything, the stature, it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
So my character of Danika Blodwyn, it's...
Where'd the name come from?
All right, so...
A Ouija board?
No. So it took me forever to figure out this name. Originally, I was going to go by Ziva, Z-I-V-A. And mainly because I'm a huge NCIS fan. And
right.
Yeah, so Ziva's kind of a badass.
Right.
And I was like, oh, simple name. China was one name. Ziva, one name. And then I thought about it. I was like, I'm not really a Ziva. I don't look like a Ziva. So I started playing around with the names. Okay. And then I was like, some of the wrestlers I actually like now have a first and a last name. And I was like, okay. So I went online. I looked up like baby names. I looked up all these other names. I was like, okay, what kind of character do I want? Well, I want to be like this dark goth type of character. Okay, so let me look up some Wiccan names, some pagan names, some other names.
Sure.
And I just found the cool ones. And I pulled them and I put them down and I
put them on like a sticky note.
Kind
and
of,
then just
I started
like
putting them together, And then my dead name, my original name, is Dan. My son's name is Danik. And then, because I'm Polish Native American, I wanted a name that kind of meant something. So I came across this name, and it was Danika. And I was like, well, you know what? There's that model, named Danika. And I was like, well, if I ever make it big, and you search Danika, my name will probably pop up with hers just because of my name. I was like, okay, let me try that. Let me go with the Danika stuff. I play homage.
I run into the same problem personally.
Yeah,
like you type in Sean Graves on Google, you're gonna get
Sean Connery.
No, there is a Sean Graves.
Oh,
and I'm not saying that like we're competing in life, but there's actually three. There's myself, which has done all these things from podcasts to music to books and all this chapter read, like, audiobooks and stuff like that. But then there's a Sean Graves from a band called The Graves.
Oh, okay.
Which you'll see in TV shows, like on a poster for like Shameless.
Oh.
Yeah, there's a poster. And then Sean Graves... he was a victim at the Columbine shooting. And he goes around America and he talks about gun violence in schools. And all three of us look nothing alike.
So what we need to do is we need to put you in a Thunderdome and just let y'all battle it out. There can be only one.
Right. I'm not saying that there is a competition.
But there's a competition.
Here's my thing. If you type in Sean Graves, you're going to get Sean Graves, Columbine victim, who's still alive, thank God. If you type in Sean Graves, you're going to get either Sean Graves from The Graves, and then if you put musician, then you get me. That's how Google figured it out on its own.
Oh my God. But
I get you.
Wait.
Danica's going to be one of those things where...
that you put in that name, I would come up.
Yeah.
And then I was looking up last names. And I was looking at like pagan and other last names and whatever. And because I'm pagan. So I was like, you know what? They always say that whatever your wrestling persona is, it needs to be you and crank it up to 11.
Oh.
That's what they always say.
Okay.
So I was like, Danika Sender. No, that doesn't work. Danika Crow. That sounded pretty cool, but nah, I don't want to do the crow thing. And then I keep going down. And I saw Blodwyn. I was like, Danika Blodwyn. I'm like, has that ring to it,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
I was like, okay, my character is a biker leather mama. Danika Blodwyn. Sounds
Sold.
like a bad bitch.
Yeah.
You know, you
I
think
wouldn't
about
fuck
it.
with her, really.
And then, because I do alternative lifestyle, I'll just put
Ring it that
in
way.
quotes.
Sure.
I was like, so what can I play around with? Okay, she's a biker leather mama. She's a biker dominatrix, or she's a mistress or something.
Okay.
Try to play around with the character a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Something interesting, not just I'm a biker and I kick your ass. No, let's give some complexity to the character.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, nicknames, Mistress of the Highway. That's got a ring to it. And everybody's like, oh, so like a trucker prostitute. I'm like, that is not what Mistress of the Highway stands for.
Maybe to... Oh.
Yeah, they went way left field with that. I was like, that's not what people get when you hear Mistress of the Highway.
It's like Mistress of the Darkness,
Yeah,
Elvira style.
it's just,
Yeah.
I say Mistress of the Highway. Like,
Yeah.
I'm the highway's mistress. Like,
Right.
I'm a biker, the whole freedom thing.
Mhm.
And other people got it. They understood. It's just certain people were like, oh, prostitute. I'm like, no, hell no.
Do like
Totally
the hell...
different.
If I would have done like... in that moment where I described to you, yeah, I'm so-and-so, Mistress of the Highway. And then you're like, oh, a prostitute? Head tilt, okay.
Yeah.
Mentally...
People forget that
where-
mistress
I'm gonna
has
get-
a lot of meanings. I'm like, oh, good lord. And then I started like playing around with it, and then come to find out the name
Mm-hmm.
actually has a literal meaning.
Danika?
So Danika means morning star, which
Okay.
biblically the morning star is either Jesus
Uh-huh.
or Satan.
Right.
Satan in a lot of fan films or whatever is known as Lucifer Morningstar.
Mm-hmm.
And then Blodwyn had a meaning that was not even close to what I thought it meant. Means fair flower.
Not even close to what I thought.
Not even close.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, blood wings. No, not even close. But it's morning star, fair flower. So in literal words, Satan's flower.
Mistress of the Highway.
Mistress of the Highway. Exactly. So then it's like, oh, like Devil at the Crossroads. And now I can play around with all these elements.
That's
and
awesome.
bring in paganism, Wiccan, voodoo, battle with the devil, like all this
Yeah.
fun stuff. Because I love Supernatural and Sabrina. It was
Yeah.
kind of my shit.
Sabrina back in the 90s.
Yes.
Yeah.
The new one was good. New
I-
one was good.
I actually haven't seen it.
You need to, because they're canceling it, so you need to watch it.
Why are they canceling it?
I don't know. They're doing one more season. They're going to cancel it.
Huh.
But you need to watch it. It is really, really
I mean,
good.
it's funny that like that Sabrina couldn't even outlast the Sabrina
I know.
on TGIF.
And it's actually better.
wow.
Yeah, it's like Supernatural meets like a bunch of other elements. It's fucking
Nice.
good. You need to watch it.
Well, now I'm gonna be sad that it's going.
It's
away.
good. But anyhow, so I came up with this character and then played around with it. And I was starting off with the whole I'm the strong, silent type. I don't say shit because I hate my voice.
It's funny to have a voice I hate because I too grew up with that feeling
Yeah.
in my life, and a lot of it was because of bullying.
Mhm.
Did you get that?
I have my trans voice, as people call it, and then I have my natural voice, and I hate the natural sound of my voice because there's nothing femme about my voice. My voice is deep as hell, which to sound like this, I'm all up in my nasal cavity, and it sucks. I hate it. but my voice is so deep. So I was always worried that in the heat of the moment, I'm going to say something and I'm going to sound like this really macho Southern guy.
Which is the exact opposite.
Exact opposite of how I look on
of what you wanted.
I'm dressed. Because, like, my chest isn't all that big. It only grew so much. And so I pad my chest.
Okay.
And I use a sports bra. It helps to hide it and all that. But I have curves. I have a woman's figure. So I wear jeans, I wear the shirt and whatever. And when I'm in the ring, yeah, you could tell I'm a trans person. Or, in the eyes of at least 2 little girls, I was the most beautiful macho female they had ever seen.
That's awesome.
I know this because they pulled me aside and told me this. And they were like, "You were so pretty." And I was like, "Oh."
How did you feel when
I
that
cried.
happened?
I cried and I hugged him.
In front of them?
Yes.
Oh.
I hugged him. I was like, "Thank you." I was like, "But y'all know I lost, right?"
I don't even
They
think
didn't
that
care.
matters, like, because you're a superhero and a real life superhero.
What it was,
to these
it was like,
two.
for me, I got to be their China.
Yeah.
I was China for these kids, like China was for me when
Mm-hmm.
I was younger.
You're channeling that
Yeah,
archetype
it was
energy,
insane.
and it was coming through you, and they got that.
And like my fiance was there, and one of our other friends was there, and they were like, "Oh, that's so sweet." I was like, "I know. I'm gonna go over here and cry. I'm gonna go.
Just give me like 5 minutes.
Give me a minute." It was so surreal.
Yeah.
I've never thought that I would get that. That's when you know you're like, "Holy shit, I made it. I'm
Yeah.
at the point that I wanted to be.
Right.
I made it. I'm
That-
there.
So last
I'm
week,
a girl that wrestles."
last week I talked to Khadijah, and she told me, and you can listen to that episode, that we make up these like imaginary marks that if we don't hit them, we're not good enough.
Yeah.
Did you
Oh.
have that walking in?
Oh yeah.
What were they
So
for you and for wrestling? And
I was in this mentality that nobody wants to see a trans wrestler. You don't want to see a he, she, or a lady boy, or somebody that looks like a guy in the dress. That was all of these like little things I was putting in my head.
you put them in your head,
Yeah.
or were they
Well, I mean,
imprinted into your head? And
It didn't
you
help.
evolved
I
that?
mean, society
right?
really
Yeah,
didn't
our
help,
society in the
you know?
'90s was not. Yeah,
And then, so my fiance goes, they call me Mama. That's just the nickname.
Right.
They were like, "Well, Mama, go and
do it.
check it out. Just
Yeah.
you don't know until you try. You love wrestling. You watch it with me every week." I was like, okay. So I go and I talk to this guy. This back when I was in San Diego, and I go and talk to this gentleman named Benny, and Benny is a wrestler named B-Boy,
Okay.
who I follow. I used to follow his stuff. And so I go and I talk to Benny, and he was like, "Hey," he goes, "I don't see a guy. I don't see a girl. I see a student." He goes, "You have a long ways to go before you even think about getting in the ring." And I was like, okay. Neutral playing ground. I'll give this a shot. So I go to training. And it took them a little bit with the pronouns, but it wasn't hard. Everybody saw me. They were like, "Hey, girl, how you doing? Get over here." Or I get in the ring. And they made sure guy and girl alike, you were trained the same.
Good.
There
Okay.
was no,
I like
"Hi,
that."
you're a girl. Let me take it easy." No,
Right.
hell no. You're going to get the shit knocked out of you.
You know, it's funny because, like, going through training a couple years back on self-defense, like, we worked with... Are you okay?
Yeah, hip flexor.
Okay.
It's been really, really tight.
Oh.
I think I got a hernia. I'm not sure.
Oh. We had girls and, well, men and women training together. And one of the instructors was also female. And so she'd get dressed up in the hit garb, and we would have to
Like
box.
Red Man?
Yep.
Okay.
So we're boxing, but she's like, no head hits, can't do that, just in the box, right? So I was raised by my two sisters, and obviously you don't hit girls. That was the first rule ever laid down, you know? And so I went up to Michelle and I said, I can't hit you. You have to hit me first.
Oh, God.
I know it's so bad, but like,
Yeah, I can
there
see
is
that.
this wall, and until
It's like
you
me.
break it, I can't
I get
defend
it.
I will defend myself, but I will not be the first to strike.
And I get it, that, because when I train, if you're the same size as me,
Yeah.
I'll wrestle and we'll hit each other.
Sure.
We'll do whatever. We'll
Yeah.
train.
Yeah.
I have a really hard time getting over training with guys half my size.
Like me, I'm a very small, structured guy. But...
No, like with you, I would be fine.
Oh, okay. We'll
But-
take this outside.
No, I would though. Like, I don't know what it is. Like, there was a couple of times I've trained guys that are like, they're short, and maybe $120, $130, $140.
Well, I'm a $150 and a
Yeah,
half,
but you
so-
have the height to you,
Yeah.
so it's not. I don't feel like I'm gonna break you.
Oh, thanks.
Okay, but I have trained with guys, and it's just like, I guess I feel like I'm bigger or stronger than I am, because when I see myself in the ring with other guys that are that size, I'm like, holy fuck, I tower you. And it makes me scared to like pick them up, slam them down, or I
it's like-
slam them, and I'm like, oh, are you okay?
Yeah, because you can't say I'm sorry.
Like, are you okay?
That was one of the hardest lessons I ever had to learn, was the vocabulary of stopping saying,
Don't say you're sorry.
don't say you're sorry.
Just be like, are you okay?
Are you okay? That's the safe word.
Are you okay? Yeah? Awesome. Roll out. Go take a break. Get some water. I feel like shit.
Right.
Like-
Yeah, because I would feel like shit if I did like a shoulder throw and I may have fucked up on my end, but they recovered.
Yeah.
But I would be like, I'm so sorry. Are you okay?
Are you okay?
There were only a couple of times where I would literally have like an oh shit moment and say, I'm so sorry. Because I knew on my end,
Oh, yeah.
I had that responsibility, and I accidentally threw that out.
What was really great, getting a little bit back on topic for us,
Yeah.
it was when I trained down at Level Up in San Diego, I transitioned at the beginning stages or late stages of my first year going into my second year of hormones. And I would dress up, I look like a girl, I learned the ropes of how to work the shows, training and all of that. And by the time I left, I had a good appreciation for the business.
The business and the art, or like
Both.
Okay.
But when I saw it in the ring and watching, I'm like, damn, this is awesome. This is a shit that I could get to.
Yeah.
And then coming up to Fresno, I was like, oh, fuck. Do we even have a wrestling school in fucking Fresno? Like, is there one out there? There's one school that is reputable in Fresno. And it's Best of the West Wrestling. And it was the one that was recommended to me to go to. So I was like, okay, I'll give it a shot. I'm going to hit them up, message them, say, hey, I'm coming from B-Boy.
This place.
You know. I'm trans. Is that going to be a problem? They made it a point to tell their guys and girls that, hey, we have this person coming in that's trans. If you have a problem with it, leave.
That's so awesome.
Because they have a zero tolerance policy for anything that is bigotry, homophobia, the whole nine.
Yeah.
You don't body shame. Well, I mean, we give each other shit, but it's like you don't go into somebody because like, who you are. Right? If you're racist, you don't get to train there.
Right.
If you're homophobic, you don't get to train there.
Right.
You don't even get to be a fan. They don't even care if you're paying them.
Wow.
You will get kicked out and you don't get your money. So it made me feel good.
That's very Mistress of the Highway of them.
Right? I felt happy going to this place.
That's awesome.
And I hadn't even created Danika Blodwyn yet. It was with the help of
She's still like a little baby.
Yes.
Is she like first term, second term?
Not even second at
Not
that
even?
time.
Okay.
But then when I get there was a guy named Josh there. He helped me like kind of like put it together. And then I had a lot more guidance from my coach, Mike Rains, who was like, with the kind of character you're trying to go for, knowing martial arts and MMA and stuff like that, because I'm an instructor, he was like, that works, but maybe not for the character. He's like, there's a difference between knowing something and utilizing it correctly for your character. So he's like, when I think of your character, a biker, this types of things, he's like, I think more of like a brawler or powerhouse.
Right.
Like Stone Cold Steve Austin, Triple H, The Undertaker, maybe China. Just kind of mix and blend some things.
Because I'm thinking of like a couple of characters from our childhood.
Oh God,
and
we have so many.
Yukrishi pops in my head.
Rikishi?
Rikishi. Rikishi.
Big Samoan. He actually runs a school in LA.
That's so cool.
Yeah, Knox Pro down in LA.
That's awesome.
Him and half of the Samoan dynasty.
Right, because he has that big build.
I remember,
and he used it to
like cool.
Yeah. Right, and
that fucking worm in the dance. And,
right,
it was awesome.
Yeah,
Scotty too hottie.
He was a big guy, and he
still is. He ain't lost weight.
No, but he definitely played that as a part of his character, and he
using the
felt
butt.
That, yeah,
his stink face.
Right. So
God, I would hate to take that. Oh my God. There are just certain moves I just don't want to take in wrestling.
Do you have a special move?
I don't really, because I'm still a baby.
Okay.
In a lot of this, I'm considered what they call a green, like a greenhorn.
Got it.
Right? I trained for 2 years before I ever debuted. And that was more of like personal and professional reasons.
There's a lot of pieces moving. You just got to take about as good a management as possible.
Yeah.
In that whole process.
It was just trying to find the opportunity to like, hey, I want to get this experience. Can I finally get a student show? Can I hop in on something or, whatever? And my coach, we had done like some festival stuff. I got to be in a couple of battle royals. And battle royals are very basic. You know that, hey, you're going to be the final four, or hey, you're the winner. And if you don't go into either one of those, you know that at some point before you hit final four, you're going out. That's all you know. Wow. Just get in there, beat the hell out of each other, do some fun stuff, get the hell out, and go in the back.
Right.
That's your job. So I did that for a festival. My first match ever was at the, it was like the Peanut Festival or something. I don't know, some kind of festival. And it was up in Merced. Festival. And I forget what it was. Or no, it was like, Potato Festival. It was the Potato Festival up in Merced.
Right, so it's another,
Shut up. All right. So we were going to this thing, and I asked, hey, can I go? Because they're doing a Battle Royal or Royal Rumble, whatever. And I was like, can I get in on that? They're like, yeah. Do you have a gear? I was like, well, I got shoes, shirt, and a pair of pants. Because I don't wear anything special. I just wear a tank top, blue jeans, so nothing crazy right now.
Right.
But we go to this, and I get in a battle royal, and then my friend Josh Harmon was with me, and so they were like, "Hey, do y'all want to get in on a match? So they had me tag with Josh. My very first legitimate match was me tagging with my friend Josh Harmon in a match against my coach and a guy named Daniel Torch.
Okay.
That was my first match ever.
Wow.
It was terrible. But
a good experience.
yeah, because I didn't know a lot. I didn't understand the psychology of wrestling yet. I didn't understand how to put a match together. I had a hard time remembering when you did what. I didn't have that experience. So my coach literally walked me through it. And of course, with me and Josh is this guy that's like half my size. So us as a tag team, I look like the muscle. The first thing I did, as soon as I come in, he gave me what they call a hot tag. I hop in and I run across and I spear Daniel. First thing I did. And they called it, but I did the spot completely reversed from what they told me.
Oh.
I was supposed to spear last, and I speared first.
Oh my gosh.
But I called something on the fly, and I still made it work.
Okay.
So that was my very first match ever. My actual debut was at UEW in Long Beach. Underground Empire Wrestling against my friend Disney, as we call him. He goes by Couch Potato Carl.
Couch Potato Carl.
Yeah.
He
comes
with
out.
all these potatoes.
Yeah, I know. I just realized. But he comes out, he's a juggalo.
Okay.
So you have this biker chick versus a juggalo. And at this show, just the fact that he was a juggalo, I got over as a baby. I was a good person. And they just want to see me kill the clown. Oh. That was what they wanted. I had to kill the clown.
Okay. Do you go off of what the audience wants based off of which character comes out, or
no? So the promoter's going to tell you.
Does someone go 1, 2, 3, shoot, and then it's like a rock paper scissors?
Nope. The promoter tells you.
Oh.
So the promoter's going to go. Let's say you and I wrestle.
Sure.
Promoter's going to go to you and me and say, "You're the baby. You're the heel." So good guy, bad guy.
Oh.
Heel, bad guy, baby face, good guy.
Okay.
Makes sense. There you go. Terminology, sorry. So you're the baby, you're the heel. You're going over. You're the one that's winning. So if you're going over, you're winning.
Okay.
So he goes, you're going over, you have 10 minutes for a match, go figure it out.
Make it happen.
They don't care. Unless it's a storyline-based match, the promoter might have a idea how he wants it or she wants it to go. But ultimately, they're just going to say, you're the baby, you're the heel. Here's how much time you have. You're going over. Figure out the match. And make it a good one.
Well.
And, yeah, it's not as easy as most people think.
That's so vague.
So
to figure out at that point, because I feel like, okay,
that's where the experience comes in of knowing how to construct the match, what goes where, how does it make sense. And usually you'll take somebody that's more junior and you put them with somebody that's more of a veteran. That way the veteran can help and you
build learn.
Up. Yeah, you build you up. My first match at Best of the West, I had asked a friend who was a vet. He's a vet. A guy named Anthony Rivera. He is the Handsome Devil. And I saw his gimmick and I was like, I want to wrestle him. Like, this is a match I want, you know? Because he's this handsome devil, comes out with a whip and a flogger, and he's wearing women's lingerie.
Yeah.
And so we, he agreed. He did my student match with me, and it was a funny match. Everybody remembers it, and it wasn't even a main show.
Oh, wow.
His gimmick is he messes with the people sexually to throw you off, so you don't want to do nothing.
Huh.
So our story was, what if he wrestled somebody and they liked it?
Oh.
And he was tweaking my nipples and put my hand down to his junk, and grabbing my chest, and I grinded it on him.
So 1990s wrestling is where we went back to.
Somebody was even chanting, keep it PG,
Oh my gosh.
Like, oh yeah, it was so much fun. But that was my first match. Like, my first legitimate Fresno match. That was, like, the one. Even though I'd done like one or two before. Mm-hmm. But that was, like, to me, like, that was the first legitimate match. Like, I had an entrance. I got in the ring.
That was just part 1 of my 2-part episode with Kasia Posey and her wrestling career and the beginnings of it. And of course, there's the second half. So stick around for next week and you'll hear the rest of the story. Meanwhile, check out SeanGraves.rocks for more content on inspiration, music, and blogs and audiobook chapters being read. Thanks for the support.